Good morning and welcome to Daylight with Dean number 112 on August 1st, 2020. We've made it the whole way to August 1st. We started on April 12th. We're almost 4 months in to Daylight. And I am so grateful that you are here with me this morning on Saturday. If it feels as though I started a little later than normal here, I did my best to start at the sunrise time in New Kensington for August 1st on this Saturday. Because I don't have to be at the gym at 6:30 a.m., I was able to start at 6:17 a.m. However, I was a couple minutes late. So if it looks a little brighter outside, that is why. Yesterday's Daylight with my new microphone was filled with static, and it was like a digital rain shower that was the whole way through. And the bad news is, I have no idea why. Thank you for your patience, for all of you who enjoyed Daylight in spite of the static. I appreciate you hanging in there with me. We're trying again and looking at upgrading in a number of different ways. So stay tuned for the continued digital development of Daylight with Dean. That has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? The digital development of Daylight with Dean. I love it. Some of you are sitting there like, it's almost 6:30. I haven't had my coffee yet. I've been waiting for you. Drink your coffee. Here we go. First sip of the morning. Man, that's nice. Wow. Wow. Well, yesterday was a fascinating day. Worked out in the morning, and that went very well. It was leg day, which is a day that I do not enjoy because it's brutal. It just is brutal. But it's one of those things that I love it and I got to do it and it helps. And I appreciate the 5 or 6 people that are part of my little workout community in the mornings. They bring a significant amount of joy to the whole experience and make it worthwhile. And I'm grateful for them, grateful for Gary, my instructor. What a great young man, and really, really grateful for that time. 2 days ago, I was working out, and we were doing these tricep lifts after walking with the weights above our heads for 15 yards down and back, and so we're doing this tricep, maybe 20 yards, tricep lifts, and it was the last part of the last workout, and I was just exhausted. And I have a very high-pitched scream that shows up during horror movies. So if you ever watch a movie with me and it has one of those shocking, scary kind of jump out, I scream like a little girl. I hate to admit it. Fortunately, I don't think I'll ever be watching a thriller or suspense or horror movie with any of you, so you won't get to experience it. But my friends that have just are totally amused. Well, I realize when I'm in deep anguish trying to do my final lift, my tricep lift of the morning, I do the same thing. And these 4 women that are part of this group, the one of them just laughed out loud at me when I let my little high-pitched scream of anguish out. They harass me that I'm like, not they, the one guy that works out with me, my buddy Chad, he harassed me that I'm like in labor giving birth, but I would not disrespect a woman that way because I know that my little anguish and my little verbal outburst is nothing compared to what you all experience during labor. So I don't go there. However, when I let out my little girl-like scream, um, my one workout friend, she laughed out loud at me. I looked at her. I said, "Are you laughing at me or laughing with me?" And I said, "You're laughing at me, aren't you?" She acknowledged as much. So have a really good time with my group that I work out with in the mornings, and I want to thank them. Some of them catch daylight. I want to thank them for the encouragement that they provide me and the opportunity to do that together in community. So that was first thing in the morning, and then I did not go to my second workout because I was preaching at 2 and just had a lot to get done between now and then. I went down and said congratulations to my dear friend that owns a business in town here. It was his last day as the owner. The sale was being complete and he was selling his business. And yesterday was the day. So I went down in New Ken and just congratulated him for a few minutes after his whole career with this company. And it was real bittersweet for him. And he's a man of faith and a good friend, and happy for him. And he'll be around for about another year and then heading back to where his grandkids are. So I love you, brother. I appreciate you. And thanks for your service to our community through your business. God bless you. And then after that, preached my sermon for our online worship experience that we air every Sunday morning at 8 and 9:30 a.m. on the River New Ken Facebook and the River New Ken YouTube channel. Hey, just show of hands if you have caught one of the weekend services. Just go ahead and show your hand. You caught one of the weekend services of the River. If you haven't and you don't have a church of your own, I'd love to invite you to check it out because it's interesting. We'll say that. It's not what you think. It's not boring. It's interesting. So with our portable wireless microphone now, we're able to film off-site. So we went down to a local park and filmed. Had some great footage, really excited visually about where I preached the message. And typically I preach half the message and then I show a video and then the last half of the message. Well, this one, my message was 30 minutes long. This one preached 2/3 of the message, or almost 3/4 of the message. And then showed the video and then preached the last 8 minutes of the message. So the first part is 22 minutes long, video 8 minutes long. So if you're watching Sunday and you're like, he's just going on and on and on before the video break, just know the back end of it goes by real quick. The theme is peace this week in my message, and peace over panic. And, I shared, been open with you on our journey about Leslie's furlough and kind of the financial panic that has inspired in our household. It's a very interesting time whenever whenever that occurs. And 2 or 3 years ago, she was furloughed for the year, and that was very, very fascinating to navigate. And so we're so grateful that she's been called back. And I know I've been mentioned in this all week, but that's how grateful we are. It's just one of those things that you're grateful for. And but it was interesting to see the panic and how it kind of hid and how it played out, and all the fears that it brought up. And it was a good exercise for me to see that I don't have this all figured out yet. That when choosing between peace over panic, sometimes, although doing my best to embrace peace in that situation, sometimes panic would show up and nearly take my breath away. So it was a great opportunity to speak on that this week, and to navigate having peace with God in that positional relationship with Him, and then having the peace of God and having that perspective that helps bring peace, and then having a peace as a place that we reside, and our souls live in that place of peace. And so talked about the position, talked about the perspective, and talked about the place that peace brings us. And it was really, really thrilled with how it came together. So hope you'll catch that. Hope you'll catch that in the morning on Sunday, tomorrow morning. And then finally, my day wrapped up with a balloon release on behalf of a young man who passed away a couple weeks ago. And he and his family grew up in New Kensington and were part of our community. My youngest daughter was friends with and played sports with their youngest daughter, and their oldest son passed away 2 weeks ago, and my heart just breaks for them. A number of years ago, I don't know if it would be 5 or 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, feels like a long time ago because we miss them so much. They moved out of state. And for those of us that are lifers to New Kensington, whenever we have someone that we feel is a lifer as well and they move away, it's just catastrophic to our souls. It's heartbreaking. So they moved away to be close to family and friends where they moved to, and got the call 2 weeks ago that the young man passed away. I think he might have been 20. Just a heartbreaking reality. And so one of our parishioners who was close friends with the family, she said, we have to do something. So she organized and started promoting a balloon release Friday evening at 8 o'clock in a parking lot nearby. And so we all met in this parking lot, and there was probably probably 60 of us outside, I think. I'd say 60, maybe 70, more than 50. So as my intuitive number counting, there were a bunch of us. And they had balloons for all of us, and she'd asked me to kind of lead that celebration of his life. and welcomed everybody, thanked the person for organizing it, and then I just invited friends and family to share what it is that they appreciated about this young man and how their lives were touched by him and how they knew him and the difference he made in their lives. And so for about 15 minutes, just people shared memories, stories, thoughts, and then I just, when everyone was done with that, just wrapped it up by reading a scripture from Romans chapter 8 about the unfailing love of God, even when it feels distant and like it's not there. His love is there. And then we were done with that. The person who organized it then led us in the balloon release. And I have to tell you, that was very impressive. It was very impressive watching 50, 60, 70 balloons. It was a fairly, had a little bit of a breeze to it, so the balloons had some movement as they went up. And for a good 10 minutes, we just all stood around watching these balloons further and further and further and further away. And I just watched the group, and they didn't move. They just sat there and watched these balloons that were released in honor of this young man. And a couple things jumped out to me that evening, last evening. First was just my love for this community. I hope the Lord instills in you a deep, life-changing, transformative love for the community and the people of the community that you are a part of. Even if you only like people in small doses, I hope that the Lord gives you a calling, a passionate connection in the community that you are called to live. Because there's not much that is like being part of a community, putting your anchor down and saying, this is it. This is where I am investing the rest of my life. And I understand that, some of us can't do that with our jobs, with our careers, where we, how we navigate life. But I do believe that the Lord calls some of us into a very deep, committed, intentional investment in the lives of the people in the community in which we live. And it's my hope that that happens with you. Because the beauty of that, the diversity of that for us in New Kensington, it's magnificent. And I hope that you will seek the Lord, that you will pray to the Lord. If you don't have that, I pray that you will ask Him to give you a heart for those who are part of your community, and that you will be light, that you will shine your light brightly where you live. I'm not asking you to go out and do calisthenics and jump through hoops and show off and try to be a big deal in shining your light. I'm just asking you to live with love and compassion and live your faith out and serve and bless your community. Because when you do that, you feel, at least I feel, the pleasure of the Lord in my soul, in my spirit. I feel the joy of the Lord in me. I feel like he's like, Dean, you're getting it right. You're doing exactly what I'm calling you to do. And these kind of tragedies happen. And to be able to walk alongside of friends as they grieve together, it's a beautiful thing. To be able to FaceTime with his family, his father, who I haven't seen for years, during the service, and when I'm talking, speaking directly to the dad and the mom and having the dad respond, although they're states away. It's community. And I hope that you get to experience it. And I grew up on my grandfather's property that my parents bought. He had 100 acres in Delmont. My parents bought 20 acres and built a house, and it was great growing up there. I loved the woods. I loved exploring. It was that time in the 70s when your kids would leave the house in the morning and you wouldn't have any idea where they were all day long. And there was only one problem there for me. There weren't really any neighbors close by. My cousins lived the next house over, probably 0.2 of a mile away, and they were about our age, so we would play with them. When I was real young, there were neighbors up on the hill that we would get together and play with. But I miss community. And as I've described before, I went to church 7 miles away in Murraysville. I went to school 6 miles away in Greensburg. I played sports a couple miles away with kids that went to a different school. And none of my worlds connected. And when I met my wife on our blind date on March 9th of 1991, and I was introduced to New Kensington as a community from an insider perspective, because she had grown up here, she'd spent her whole life here, and seeing the lifelong friendships and relationships that were built with neighbors close by, watching the ability to run down to Sheetz gas station and buy gas and see your teacher from 5th grade that my wife had, and to run into neighbors throughout your day in the community at Giant Eagle or Farmore back when that was a pharmacy here. I began to crave community in a significant way. And I'm so grateful 11 years later from when we met. The Lord opened up the doors for us to buy the home right across the street from Leslie's mom and dad, and to raise our family in New Kensington across the street from her parents. And it's been a significant blessing in my life, in the life of our family. And so that really hit me last night and hit me strong. Nobody wanted to leave. We all just stood around and talked and visited and connected well into dusk, and it was getting dark by the time, it was really getting dark by the time we left. And it impressed me, it caught my attention how moving the balloon release was. I'd never been part of a balloon release for any celebration before, so that was, I've seen and heard of them, seen them in videos, but didn't quite capture actually being there and how moving that was. And so my hope for you is, even if you're coming to this community conversation a little later in life than you had hoped, I hope that you find community, that place with your tribe and your people that are different than you, people that expand your opportunity to love, people that expand your opportunity to love, people that you never realized you would be in community with. I hope the Lord gives that to you. And again, I just want to ask, if you're looking for that kind of community and can't find it, and you're open to diversity, and you're open to being light in a dark place, and you're open to putting your roots down and staking a claim, saying, this is where I'm giving my effort, my energy, and to be a part of this community, I want to invite you to consider moving to New Kensington. Oh, I know you hear stuff on the news. Make me want to swear, and I don't swear. Ignore the news. New Kensington is a great place to live. New Kensington Arnold School District, where all 4 of my kids have gone. From kindergarten through 12th grade. Been a great school for my kids. They get to be a big fish in a smaller pond. The teachers there, man, they are committed. We get to be a bright light. We get to bless others. The YMCA in New Kensington, the difference it made in my son's life. The faith community that we've been a part of. The relationships that we've built. I'm so grateful for it. And it's not too late for you. You can move to New Kensington. I had a Facebook friend kind of putting New Kensington down the other day, and why would anybody want to live in New Kensington? And then they started singing the praises of living in Monroeville and how great Monroeville is. And I grew up 10 miles from Monroeville and shopped in Monroeville. My mother taught school in Monroeville, so I know Monroeville pretty well. Leslie and I Thursday had an appointment in Monroeville, and I had to drive through Monroeville. And of course in Monroeville you have to get Chick-fil-A, and of course I love to compare Chick-fil-A with Popeye's chicken, and there's a Popeye's chicken in Monroeville where you can get a Popeye's chicken sandwich. So we went to Sam's Club, which I enjoy. We went to Popeye's, waited for our food, and drove to Chick-fil-A, waited for our food. Both fast food restaurants took about 20 minutes. The only thing in Popeye's, there were 4 cars in front of me when I pulled in. In Chick-fil-A, there were at least 40 cars in front of me when I pulled in. But navigating the traffic on a Thursday afternoon in Monroeville, you can have it. You can keep it. Man, the quality of life I have in New Kensington, never thought I would have it so good. Never thought I would have it so good. And I'm being totally honest. All of you who want property and a big house and lots of land and privacy, you can have it. You can have it. I grew up with that. It keeps your light on a hill, under a bushel, hard for anybody to see. Come move to New Kensington. Let your light shine here. It's a beautiful place to live. The ethnic diversity here is magnificent. Mazziotti's Bakery, I went to it the other day. Oakmont, what? Go to Mazziotti's any day of the week. Costa's Italian Market, Fazio's Italian grocery store. Come on. We got Aldi's, we got Giant Eagle. We even have Long John Silver's. Bet your community doesn't have Long John Silver's. Some of you are like, did you just stick your tongue out at me? Maybe a little. Love this community, and I'm on a bit of a rant, so I'm going to stop before I say anything that might be considered different than how I meant it to be heard. So, may you be blessed by community. Let me pray for you. Father, I thank you so much for the opportunity we have to share this time together. Lord, I thank you for each person with us today. I thank you for the gift of paying attention to you throughout our day and looking for your movement and your whispers and your peace and your joy and your leadings throughout the day. And now, Lord, I ask that you would bring peace to each person here and that you would bless them. God, I thank you. Thank you for the gift that this community has been in my life and the life of my family. And Father, I just pray for everyone struggling to find community that you would give them that gift. And if New Kensington is in their future and part of your calling and plan for them, I pray, Lord, that you would call them here and they would move here and put their feet down here and say, I'm part of this community. Thank you. Thank you for this gift. Thank you for the gift of a weekend and for Saturdays. I pray, Lord, that you would bless each person in all that they have today. May they be aware of your presence, your love, your grace, the pleasure that you take in them and the love that you have for them. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. God bless you guys. Great to be with you today. Hope that you have a great weekend and a great day. We'll see you tomorrow morning. God bless.